Welcome to That 80s Show, and there's no need to be afraid, Dori. It's that time of year where we let in light and we banish shade. Do they know it's Christmas time at all, Dori?
So here's the thing, right? With climate change, it now does snow in parts of Africa. This Christmas and potentially other Christmases.
Of course, we're talking about Do They Know It's Christmas, the massive song by Band Aid, supergroup of the 80s that released a Christmas track. But it's silly things like that. Why it's not our favorite Christmas song on That 80s Show. And people say to me, hey, Paulo, you know what? You seem to be a guy that likes Christmas a lot. I say, no. I don't like Christmas. I like Last Christmas. If you like Last Christmas, then you also hate the game Whamageddon. Now, you and I have known about Whamageddon for quite a while, Dori. But people have been saying to me this week, I say, wow, like I never knew this was a real thing. It seems to have taken a while for that moronic game to like get its filthy little talons into our collective mindscapes, right? So the game Whamageddon, if you don't know, good. You listen to the show, so you probably don't play Whamageddon. Because listen here, if you play Whamageddon, I got to tell you, a show where our Facebook profile picture is Wham in Christmas outfits, you're going to hear Last Christmas, right? It's not a place. Or you would have heard Last Christmas, right? So before we used to play music in the show, no longer do it because I forgot to pay the license fees for that. So we cannot play music anymore.
But we will talk about Last Christmas a lot.
Of course we will. But we start off by talking about Last Christmas because you go, how can you eliminate 7,000 people from Whamageddon at once, right? Of course, even us, we don't have that many listeners to take people out all at once. Close. Can't eliminate 7,000 people from playing Whamageddon all at once. So, Dori, I take you to Northampton Town. Did you ever think we'd go to Northampton Town today?
No, I don't even know where that is.
Okay. I assume it's
north of Hampton?
literally opposite of Southampton. Literally
Okay.
the total opposite side of Southampton. Okay. So we go to Northampton Town. And if it's a football club, we go specifically to their football club. And they're playing a home game against Portsmouth, right? So, you know, you've got people in the stadium, 7,000 people in the stadium ready to watch a football game. And the stadium DJ plays Last Christmas over the tannoys. Great. Thinking, we're going fantastic.
We're going 10 points.
10 points, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not expect to hear this. I mean, football, you know, we're not going to hear Last Christmas. No, you hear Last Christmas. The DJ, Matt Facer, I never knew people took it so seriously. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt Facer, known as DJ Matty, played the song during halftime in the League One clash at Six Fields, Northampton's ground, attended by 7,215 people. I gave it a spin, thinking it'd be quite funny to wipe out 7,000 people who couldn't avoid it. But clearly it wasn't funny. People were insulting him on Twitter.
Oh, okay. No.
A lot of people were insulting me on Twitter, but it was quite tame to what was being said in the stadium. So he got a lot of abuse. So he officially has apologized to everybody, okay? And he's promised not to play the song during the home game against Fleetwood Town to avoid upsetting fans. However, that game hasn't happened yet, and I'm all for starting a GoFundMe for DJ Matty play that song.
But this is giving me ideas, hey? We could do something like this. We just have to find these large events where lots of people are at. And then we speak to the DJ, you know what I mean?
Have you ever been to like a small Mediterranean village, like in Greece or Portugal or anything like that?
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens, particularly in like my father's village in Madeira, is that the fishmonger comes around, right?
Right.
And he goes, catches fresh fish, and now he drives around the village selling fish, right? That's what he does. Very quaint, could you be more Mediterranean? Than the local? Because then
I'm imagining no.
No, because you have the fishmonger and then you have the baker, and they drive around in cahoots, right? It's very biblical. loaves of bread.
Are they in those little cars that have like 3 wheels?
They are in one of those little cars. They are. And what they have on them is they have little loudhailers. So they sit there with a little loudhailer shouting, fish of the day, this is what I caught, this is how much, this is what I got. I reckon we get a fleet of those little bahaj things. Have you seen those driving around Johannesburg?
Yes.
I think it's bolts, little bolt. If you catch a bolt in Johannesburg, they send
a judge.
Yeah, they send like a little toy car to pick you up. I reckon we get a fleet of those loudhailers and just drive around all the alfresco dining places. Say, you're out. You're out. You're out. You're out. You're out. You're out. DJ Matty, he had to apologize. He says, I can take it on the chin with my home fans in Portsmouth, but I don't think I'll be playing it again. I think it's a shame people in professions like mine can't play Wham until it's late December.
What kind of world are we living in? What has happened to humanity?
Yeah, you have a man that has reached the peak of DJ professions. I mean, because you know where you start. You start by playing, you're a kid, and you start by playing your friends' birthday parties. Then you're playing bingo halls, retirement homes, weddings, eventually stadium DJs. I mean, this guy he's reached the top.
Yeah.
And he cannot play Wham in December.
But I mean, imagine this was you, Paulo. Your whole reason for reaching the top would be to play Wham in December.
And do you for 1 second think I would let 7,000 people stop me?
No.
I've seen the complaints for this show. I've seen people say, please stop. Will you please stop it? I don't give a shit. I'm going. I'm doing it. DJ Matty, you've reached the pinnacle of your career. You do not have to stop playing Wham. Okay.
No. Speaking of, how is your reverse Whamageddon going? I have 20 points so far, which is pretty pitiful.
Reverse Whamageddon to get points. So obviously Whamageddon is that you got to try to see how far in December you can go without during last Christmas. Reverse Whamageddon is for people like us. It's the unofficial game of that 80 show. The second unofficial game is the Mad Magazine game, which Dori, Mad Magazine board game, you remember that?
Yes.
Huge in the 80s. We loved it. It was like top of the list. I used to have one, right? Every good 80s kid. I love Mad Magazine, got a massive collection, almost 1,000 editions. Probably not, but I got a lot. I got a lot.
Yes.
And we used to love playing the Mad Magazine board game as kids. Mine disappeared through...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it just disappeared. I was at a market the other day. As I walk in... I'll name it. I'll name the store. Did you ever been to the Botanical Gardens in Emmarentia?
I have, but I haven't been to the market there. Oh, wait a minute. That one, as you walk in the entrance and that guy's got like books and comics and stuff.
That guy. And weed, Dori.
Oh,
and weed.
Well, no, you've answered him.
I'm willing to bet that the trade in German Mad Magazines is not as brisk as his sideline trade. It is a botanical garden after all, right? It does celebrate the best in local botany. So he is right in what he's doing. So yes, fantastic. They got comic books. They got German edition Mad Magazines. There are certain times in my life I will not go there. We take the dog for a walk there. I'm like, no, please let's go to another entrance because I cannot be disciplined enough.
Yes.
And there was a stage he was only taking cash. Where I was like, great, who carries cash? And now he's gone, now I'm cashless. Oh no, this is not good for me. So as I'm there about a month ago, I walk in and outside they've got a pristine, in wrapping Mad Magazine board game. I see it. I'm like, oh God, we going to this market inside there. I'm going to have a few beers. I'm going to lose this thing. I don't want to cart around.
Yeah.
Someone may fight me for it. I don't want that.
No.
You know, you can't go walking around in public with a Mad Magazine board game. People will fight your body. So I'm like, you know what? No one is going to buy it. I'm going to get it when I come out. So of course, when I come out, it's gone. I'm like, oh guys, that's terrible. Because he says, don't worry. I've got another one. He says, the box is a little bit more damaged. The pristine one was $300. This one, a little bit damaged, $200. Dude, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect condition inside. The box a little bit damaged. Everything inside, perfect.
Yeah.
So I've now got replaced from my childhood the Mad Magazine board game.
And it's got all the components.
Everything. It's got everything. He says it's missing because in it you had the $1 million note or the $500 million note. It's missing that, but I found a version online. My wife's a designer. She printed one out for me. So perfect. No problem.
Exactly.
There's not even snot on the board because, like, you can imagine if that's legit secondhand from some family, like that thing is disgusting. No, it's like, looks like it's never been played, except that note is missing.
Yeah.
So that is the unofficial board game of that 80s show. But the unofficial 80s related song game of that 80s show is Reverse Wham Ageddon.
To get back to Reverse Wham Ageddon, yeah.
I took the scenic route through the botanical garden. And Reverse Wham Ageddon means you can't intentionally play Last Christmas for yourself. You have to hear it in the wild.
Yes.
So you've heard it twice.
Yes, once on the radio, and then I was so excited. Let me share. Last night I went to a Christmas party. Yes, it's early, but this is perfect because I'm actually working on Christmas this year. And I wasn't going to have a Christmas party. And then my niece's friend said, we're doing an early Christmas party, please come. And I was like, but these are young kids. Hey? These are kids in their early 30s, right? So you get there and the music that's playing, like, I don't know anything that's playing. I'm like, that's fine, whatever. It wasn't terrible music. I was just like, these kids. We're eating our Christmas dinner and all of a sudden, I hear Last Christmas. And I literally went, yay, lights for me. And everyone looked at me like I was mad. But, these things happen.
Oh, Dori, did you say? Now, first thing I got to say, there's only two people who work on Christmas.
Yeah.
People in news and Santa.
Right.
So Dori's one of them. I won't reveal who.
I may be Santa.
Right? I won't reveal who.
Yes.
But Dori, did you take the opportunity to say, gather little children, regale around me, bring me your Gen Z, bring me your Gen Z energy and gather around me. And let me tell you this fantastic story of the saint called George and his follower called Andrew. Just as saintly, but not yet quite ordained because he has not performed the miracles nor been summoned up to Elton John's palace in the sky. And he said, children, let me regale to you the story of Last Christmas. And they said, no, but I know the Christmas story. Say, no, you do not know the Christmas story because it involves three wise men called Stock Aitken Waterman. And no, they did not write the song, but they were competing with Wham at the time for number one spot. Oh, but there was a bad man out for George's crown. His name was Bob Geldof. And under the guise of saving children in Africa over Christmas, he released a song at the very same time to knock George Michael off the charts. But we are now in the year of our Lord of 2023. And are we listening to Do We Know It's Christmas in a game called Reverse Band-Aid? No, Band-Aid Ageddon. We're not playing Reverse Band-Aid Ageddon. We're playing Reverse Wham Ageddon. And that is a Christmas miracle, Dori.
I wish you'd been there.
I wish I'd been there too. I feel like walking around the streets. I feel like driving around the streets in my little Bahaj going, doo-doo-doo-doo, regaling the children, loud hailing, Saint George will save us. Saint George of Michael will save us. Bring me your unbathed. Bring me your unlistened. I will play them. The words of the mighty George of Michael. I feel this has been a very religious opening to the show.
I am feeling the spirit, I'll tell you. I'm feeling it.
You know, the great thing about 80s stars is that they have now become almost industries, right? So they're not just music. They've got to stay relevant. So all of them, pretty much all of them, have some sort of merch store where you can buy stuff. So this time of year, I like to go look at people's official merch stores online and say, last Christmas you gave me your heart. This Christmas I want one of these, right? So first story, I've put some links in there.
Yeah.
The Wham, on the Wham store, Wham World Store, Dori.
Yeah.
Now, South Africa, we can't wear Christmas jumpers. Every now and again, When you went to this Christmas party yesterday, how many of those early 30-year-olds were wearing a Christmas sweater? None. You can't. Even though last night in Johannesburg was a little bit cooler, today's a little bit cooler, but still, you're not wearing a Christmas sweater.
I don't know what you were in Johannesburg. It was boiling.
It was boiling.
We were sitting outside. It was hot.
Yeah. You see, you can't wear a Christmas sweater. Very warm Southern Hemisphere, you can't do it. But they also have T-shirts. So on Wham World, in your choice of red, blue, or green, red, yellow, blue. What was the City Golf one? Red, yellow, blue, not green. Red, yellow, blue. Yeah. Okay. This is red, green, blue, not yellow. You get these lovely sweaters and T-shirts. Wham! Last Christmas. Sweaters going to set you back £45, and a T-shirt's going to set you back £25.
I'm gonna be a bit grinchy at this point because while it's great that there's a T-shirt that says Wham! Last Christmas, that's all it says. It's not very clever.
I like the understated element of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How would you redesign it?
I think I would say, like, I would have maybe a line from the song or something.
Okay.
I would have Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart with like a heart over where the heart is on the shirt.
Clever.
You know, I don't know, just like make it more interesting. These shorts are boring.
The next thing I want you to look at now, I think these sweaters, these look like jumpers, maybe more to your liking. This is on the George Michael store, on George Michael's website, specifically in the New Inn. Now, I think this is more to your liking, Dori.
This is definitely much better. I especially like Christmas Santa. George Michael Christmas Santa. I mean, George Michael and Santa. Come on.
Yeah. That's the gift that keeps on giving. So they've got a lovely, their version of Last Christmas, nice black sweatshirt, which you can get away with wearing in Johannesburg, right? Because some nights might be chilly, especially at the beach.
And at least it looks good. I mean, it looks festive. You know, that looks good.
So it's George Michael dressed, a young George Michael, Wham George Michael, dressed as Santa with a bag full of gifts.
Right. From that famous photo shoot.
That's the one. So that's one. There's another one with George Michael. I think it's from the older album cover where he's got his big sunglasses. Yeah. But they put a Santa hat on him. That's nice. There's another one, a George Michael festive tote bag. So when you go to Woolies.
I could have that tote bag.
Yeah, go to Woolies.
I could use that tote bag.
Definitely. And then, of course, the George Michael Last Christmas coaster set. Put your little eggnog on those. That's nice.
Very cool.
Eggnog. There's a George Michael wrapping gift set. So, again, you can wrap it up and send it. I'll keep making that joke. Mugs. That says here, give it to someone special on the back of the mug. I'll give it to someone special.
Mugs are cool. Yeah.
You see, so that's the sort of puns that you're going with. And these are, like, the mugs are, the design is terribly kitsch. But I love it. I'm here all day for it. So the George Michael stuff meets with your approval. Okay.
Yes.
If you want to see what this looks like, I'm going to put it that 80 Show SA Facebook. I'm sorry, you will not be able to order in time unless you're in the UK. We know we've got some listeners in the UK. You might get it in time. The next one I want you to see is my Facebook friend Thomas Anders.
Yes.
He loves Christmas. Thomas Anders on Modern Talking. I can't wait for he and I to
hang out backstage.
Hang out, exchange sausages. He'll bring German sausages. I'll bring Portuguese sausages. We'll discuss sausages. We will be friends because we're Facebook friends. We may as well be real friends. We met online. So I can't wait to meet him in June next year. He loves Christmas. He does a lot of festivals, bonanzas. I saw them. They're called bonanzas. Yeah, in Germany. And his merch store is the best. So already last year we found out Barrett Edelstein, chart celeb savant, the celeb savant, broke my heart last year, when he said I couldn't get a Thomas Anders advent calendar.
Yeah. I know.
I know. So Thomas Anders, of course, has an advent calendar with little chocolates inside, but they said they cannot send it to me because inside the chocolates is Sherry Sherry Lady. So he couldn't send it to me. It would expire. Or melt.
It would melt.
Of course. So this year, again, he's got a new advent calendar, 19 euros. But I want you to scroll down the page because he's got I think there is a candle, Thomas Anders candle, I assume smells as lovely as he does. There is a Schlüsselband. What's a Schlüsselband? A Schlüsselband with his logo, not Christmas related. A Schlüsselband. Oh, it looks like a very European thing that you could, it looks like a body strap that you clip onto something. It doesn't look like something that we could have in South Africa because it gets that's just ripe for ripping off you.
Okay, I have to Google what this is because I cannot figure out what it is.
So to describe it to you, it looks like a strap for a handbag, and it's got a little zipped compartment, I assume, where you keep your change.
You know what it is? It's a non-80s moon bag. I think it's the thing you put around you, not like a moon bag. You put it around your chest area, perhaps.
I've seen the children with those.
Yes.
They must have been, yes. And then, because the little clip, I assume that goes on your phone or perhaps onto your lederhosen, and then keeps, so you can attach it all. Okay, so good. Modern, he's modern talking from the 80s. But his best Christmas decoration is scroll right down to all the gifts. Yes. And a set of 3 Thomas Anders balls for your Christmas tree. Little baubles, Christmas decorations with, one says kisses for Christmas. Lovely. You're my heart, you're my soul. A little Christmas decoration saying you're my heart, you're my soul. Hey, put that on your Christmas tree.
Just amazing.
And then a German Wunder gibt es Macht für dich. I think that's a German saying. And I butchered it and I apologize. But that's the Christmassy one. So I think I like those. The Kisses for Christmas 3 set of Thomas Anders Christmas baubles for your Christmas tree. And those won't expire.
I quite like the fridge magnet.
The fridge magnet? Where are we seeing this thing?
Next to the baubles.
That's him. It's, you got to see this. Thomas Anders, listen, is a fantastic looking man right now. He was always fantastic looking, but he is just, fantastic looking man at this point in time. And it's him, lovely blue jacket, cash t-shirt underneath, mid-song. I can't wait to be friends. I can't wait to meet him in Pretoria next year. Oh, we will go look at the Union buildings, perhaps go to the zoo with Thomas Anders.
I'm seeing a montage in my mind.
Dori, what we like to do in movie recommendations, my movie recommendation this week is a little bit different. And you said, is this where you're doing the 90s one?
It is.
So tell me about your 90s movie recommendation.
The reason I was inspired to watch this movie again and to talk about it is, there's that really cool group on Facebook called Gen X Only. And
okay.
Yeah, they post really cool stuff. And one of the posts a few weeks ago was a picture of the poster of this movie, and the person wrote, when I watched this movie as a kid, I thought this guy was completely insane. Now that I'm older, I think he did nothing wrong. And I was like, I watched this movie when I was younger, in the 90s, when it came out, and I thought he did nothing wrong. Like, let me watch it again and see if I feel differently about it. Funnily enough, I do. I actually feel, maybe the opposite of that person. It's like, this guy's really insane. But it's still a great movie. Anyway, the movie is called Falling Down with Michael Douglas. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a classic.
Dori, it is an absolute classic.
What a great film. And I'll tell you, it has not dated that badly, apart from certain words that would not be used today. Sure. But it's such a great film still. But like I said, when I watched it in the 90s, and I was like in my 20s, and I was, like university, quite rebellious, discovering who I was, all those things. And I was like, wow, this amazing, it's brilliant. And when I watch it now, it's like, wow, this guy's a real asshole. Like really. I'm not saying a lot of what he said is correct. A lot of what he felt and portrayed in the movie was right, but he was an asshole. And I didn't see him as an asshole in the 90s when I was younger, which is quite funny. It's like, actually, wow, it's really changed. But if you haven't seen the movie, in a nutshell, and that's the other thing that was relatable, is that I was watching it while we had a heat wave here in South Africa, and it starts with, it's set in LA, and there's a heat wave, and heat makes people crazy.
We've recently had 2 heat waves here, and the one heat wave was like ridiculous. Like it's unreal how hard it was. And you start feeling that like literally everything's at boiling point, that all you need is somebody to turn to somebody else and go, typical, for fucking riots to break out, you know? As when it gets that hot, you just feel it simmering everywhere.
And that's what happens in this movie, is that it's a heat wave, he gets stuck in the traffic thing, everything. He's lost his job, he can't get a job. It's all like, it's a perfect storm scenario, you know, and then he just loses it. And then things happen and they keep happening. And like every incident that happens kind of adds on. It's like builds up. And I mean, the scene that I remembered most clearly was, and I still think this was really good, where he wants to go and get breakfast at this restaurant, which is kind of a McDonald's type restaurant. And he wants to go and get breakfast, and he walks in and he orders the breakfast, and they say, sorry, we stopped serving breakfast at 11:30, and he looks at the clock and it's 11:35.
Now, Dori, are you going to mention the name of the burger place?
Do I remember the name of the burger place?
I've got a picture here. Wham, my burger.
Of course. No, it's Whammy Burger. Whammy
I
Burger.
prefer Wham, my burger.
I'll give you that. I'll give it to you.
For the sake of progressing this review, let's call it Whammy Burger, but I definitely say Wham my burger. Okay,
Wham my burger,
I'd love to wham my burgers.
Sounds so rude. I mean, it's so relatable because, and for years afterwards, we didn't have McDonald's here for a while, but then it did come. And they stopped serving breakfast at a certain time. And for years afterwards, I would think of that movie. Every time I would be like, oh, but I wanted the breakfast, but I just missed it. Damn, you know? It's a great movie. You do have to find it on the internet. There are decent copies on the internet. It's Michael Douglas. It's actually quite a cool cast. There's Robert Duvall as the cop.
Because he goes on a reign of terror because the burger place is the first place he loses it, gets a baseball bat out of his car and just destroys everything, right?
No. He loses. No, that's like another shop that he goes to. He wants a soda because it's so hot. It's so hot. He's pouring with sweat. And he wants a soda. No. He's trying to make a phone call and he's run out of change. So he goes into this little like convenience store type place to try and get change. And they won't give him change. The guy says, no, you've got to buy something and then I can give you change. So he goes and he gets a really, really cold soda out of the fridge. But then the change is not the right amount because the soda is so expensive. So the change isn't enough for him to make the phone call. Remember, this is the days before cell phones. You've got to use a payphone. And the change is not enough. I think you needed a quarter to make a call, 25 cents. And the soda was 80 cents. So he was going to be 5 cents short. And that's when he loses it. Because the guy in the store has a baseball bat and he gets the baseball bat away from him.
Right.
Because the guy's like trying to defend himself and he gets it and he like totally messes up the store. He like breaks shit and loses it. That's the first stop because he's trying to make this phone call. But first he's already left his car in the traffic jam. He's just got out of his car and walked. So that's actually the first thing, you know, because he like lost it from sitting in the hot car. And then eventually, and then like not long after that, he wants to go and get breakfast. So it's towards the beginning of the film.
So, and I'm going through some photos now and like re-jogging my memory. There's some Latino gangsters that like come into the fray as well.
Yeah, and they think they can take him and boil that. First of all, he is like an ex-army guy.
You can tell by his brush cut. You can tell by his, even though it's 90s, that's a very 80s brush cut.
And his license plate on his car was defense, as in D, and then a space, FENS, defense because he's a military guy, right?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it escalates and it escalates and it gets, and look, the ending is not for everyone. Like some people were upset with how it ended. I'm not going to give spoilers in case you haven't seen it, but very interesting and like lots of messages in the movie. And those messages still ring true today in some ways. So it hasn't dated badly. It's such a classic. It's so good.
Why do you no longer like empathize with him? Because we've all been in those stupid scenarios where it's just an idiot after an idiot after idiot will just push your buttons for no reason. Yeah. No, and I still relate to those parts of the film. But at the same time, he's really mean to his ex. Like he's really threatening to her. And he's just, and he's an arsehole. And you know, she got a restraining order against him because he was abusive. And I don't think I kind of registered that when I first watched it in my 20s. But now it's like, oh God, yeah, he's a really abusive arsehole. So like initially you kind of, oh, this guy's cool. Now it's like I relate to a lot of this guy's issues, but he's not cool. Okay, that's interesting. It's so interesting how perspectives change when our position changes. Because, Falling Down is one of those movies that, like, if you had to instinctively say to people, like, name one of your best or an influential movie, Falling Down wouldn't come into it. But we've all sat there when you're in a queue and there's just something, and you just, it's hot, and you go, I'm about to Michael Douglas, everyone. I'm about to absolutely, and that doesn't mean I'm about to, like, eat food off the fridge or I'm about to interrogate Sharon Stone. He goes, no, I'm about to fucking destroy the store if I don't get helped right now. And I don't think you related, but it's something that like our entire generation, it's stuck with us because I suppose we all want to just lose our shit one day.
Absolutely. And you kind of like you stop yourself, but then imagine that you don't have to stop yourself. Exactly. Yeah. But let me tell you, according to the Wikipedia page of the movie, there's been a lot of people who were influenced by the film. The Iron Maiden song Man on the Edge is basically a summary of the film, according to this article. The Foo Fighters song Walk has a music video that is a recreation of scenes from Falling Down, which I don't actually, I'd have to go and watch that video. I don't remember.
Great excuse to watch Foo Fighter videos. Never going to hate.
Exactly.
Great excuse.
In the video game Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, a character resembling Foster, that's his character name in the movie, recreates a rocket launcher scene blowing up a construction site before walking away with a duffel bag. So yeah, at some point he manages to get hold of a duffel bag full of guns. Long story, you'd have to watch the movie. And it's very iconic, this guy walking with the duffel bag.
It's directed by Joel Schumacher.
Yes.
You know the thing about the brush cut, right? Ex-military man, the whole thing. We had a colleague back in the radio days who was like ex-military guy, ex-army guy, and had a brush cut, and he was hectic. He was like, and you know what? We were all young, and he scared the crap out of us, but he taught us so many good lessons, and subsequently over the years become quite friendly. But he scared the hell out of us, and I so often would look at him and go, you are definitely going to Falling Down, all of us. One day you're going to walk in here. Everyone's getting taken out with a baseball bat because like you are that guy. Just like a guy who's just on the edge. Just on the edge. Yeah. And you definitely have the skills to hurt all of us permanently if you the day you decide to. So great movie, Dori. Great. It's not one of those that you instinctively think of. But you go, shit, that movie was good. I'm actually going to give it a watch to see if my perspective changes.
That would be interesting. I'd like to go as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those movies. It's kind of like a Full Metal Jacket where there's a portion of it that you love because it's so funny until you realize, oh, the funny bits, there's actually a human side to it. Because like the first hour-ish of Full Metal Jacket is hilarious, I think.
Yes.
Not until that specific, one scene, but it's funny up until that point, and then the whole movie changes. And if I've watched the first bit with all the insults 1,000 times, I've watched the rest of it maybe twice. And I think it's very similar to this movie. The parts where he's just losing it and taking people out, hilarious, until you go, oh, wait, this is actually quite serious. Ugh, I don't think I want to confront what this is making me feel or think about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Great movie. Great movie. Well done, Dori. So that is Dori's movie, Falling Down. Worth going to the 90s for. 100% worth going to the 90s. 100% absolutely worth going to the 90s for. So I'm going to lighten things up a little bit.
Oh, and
not necessarily have, not necessarily have a movie. I'm going to talk to you about some 80s Christmas movies. Some you'll know very well, some you've never heard of. That I think you should kind of just put on your list, your list. I do just want to take a moment to talk about the movie Last Christmas. I watched it this week, popped up somewhere. I gave it a watch.
And had you not watched it before?
No, I have watched it before. Sorry, it's full of George Michael songs. It's called Last Christmas. Right? It's produced. Well, I think Andrew Ridgeley's in it. He's in it. Oh, spoiler alert, Andrew Ridgeley's in it. Listen, if you haven't watched and you want to watch it, don't be like me when I watch it. Literally, and you're watching it, it's a love story. Oh, it's so cute. Will they get together? Won't they get together? Just keep remembering, last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Okay? Just remember that when you're watching this movie.
Dude.
So, what a great movie, actually.
I loved it. And I kind of figured it out before it was revealed.
I didn't see it coming at all.
Really? Hey, no, I figured it out because I love that kind of movie, and there's been a few of them. Not going to give too much away here, but a lot of people hated it. Hey, that movie did not get favorable reviews, but I wasn't expecting anything with it.
I would like to draw a Venn diagram of people who play Whamageddon and people who hate the movie Last Christmas, and I bet you the overlap is 99%.
Yep, probably.
Yeah. So. I mean, listen, Emilia Clarke, lovely. She's so lovely. She's so cute. Yeah. Like, she's sweet. She's like a little elf. And it's full of George Michael and Wham songs. I mean, what's not to like? And then there's a cameo by Andrew Ridgeley.
I cried at that scene.
You told me at the time. You did tell me at the time. So I just want to say, great movie to watch. Get it, watch it. Just watch it. But I want to talk to you about a couple of other 80s movies. Christmas movies. I will get to the more well-known ones. There's nothing yet. In those you know them all. Kind of just go, what am I going to watch? But let me tell you about some others. Firstly, I'm going to tell you about a movie from 1984, a British movie called Don't Open Till Christmas. It's a slasher film. Okay.
Of course. That's why I don't know it.
Which follows a mysterious killer murdering Santa Claus impersonators in London during Christmas time. Very dark. Okay.
Impersonators. Sorry.
Don't open till Christmas.
Quite funny. Right.
Then another one called Dial Code Santa. This one had multiple names, but the one it would have been released in UK and South Africa. Dial Code Santa. Thomas is a resourceful child. Kind of think of Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, but 1,000 times more violent. He's left alone with his fragile grandfather on Christmas Eve. When a killer dressed as Santa Claus breaks into their home, Thomas does whatever it takes to defend his home and grandfather. It's Home Alone without the R rating, right? It's 2-21 Home Alone. Okay, get that.
Okay.
This next one, #NotAPorno, okay, is called Elves. And it specifically says the plot of Elves reads more like a fever dream than a storyline of a movie that was actually made. Okay. Okay. Around Christmas, demonic neo-Nazi elves plan to breed with an Aryan virgin to create the race that in the world of this film, Hitler was working to create. Human-elf hybrids.
Okay.
The trailer is outrageous. It's going to go on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. I'll say it again. Demonic neo-Nazi elves are going to breed with an Aryan. Breed is a very nice way of saying what they're going to do with the Aryan virgin to create the race that Hitler was always after. Human-elf hybrids. There's a movie called Elves. I do that as a public service announcement because you might be like going through, I want to find like a nice movie for my kids to watch. Trolls.
They see something called Elves. Yeah.
Elves. That'll be fun. Not fun.
No, it doesn't sound like fun.
So don't open till Christmas.
Sounds like that Frogtown movie.
Frogtown this Elves will scar you more. It is D-grade. It is so D-grade, it's hilarious. So Don't Open Till Christmas, Dial Code Santa, and Elves. And then I'm going to talk about some of the Christmas movies from the 80s that, because there's always this argument, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or whatever? So there's some that fall into this category. So give yourself a watch of Trading Places, right?
Of course.
Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, who? Eddie Murphy is a Vietnam War vet. Dan Aykroyd is a Wall Street guy. They trade places. They actually don't trade places. Eddie Murphy takes Dan Aykroyd's job for a while to win a bet.
Right. It's not like a Freaky Friday type thing, yeah.
No, it's not magic. They specifically go, because there's a bet. I think there's a bet that these two guys who own Dan Aykroyd's company says, well, anyone could do your job type of thing, and then they go get Eddie Murphy. So there's 1983 Trading Places. Gremlins, great Christmas movie.
Yes.
Great Christmas movie. In 1985, there was a movie called Santa Claus, right? Which starred, what is his name? Escape me now. Who was Arthur?
Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore. He plays Santa's right-hand man, or elf, called Patch, who leaves the North Pole for New York City and accidentally starts working for an evil toy tycoon. And Christmas might be ruined. So Santa goes in search of his talented toy-making elf to redirect his skills at the deserving children of the world. Okay?
I mean, it sounds like Elf.
Sounds exactly like Elf.
Right.
Sounds exactly like Elf. Here's another one, also toy-based, starring a very young Drew Barrymore, 11 years old. She's a kid, 11-year-old, who takes herself a little bit too seriously until she finds a place called Toyland, which reinserts her belief in the magic of Christmas. Drew Barrymore, when she's young,
I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that.
Babes in Toyland, just after E.T. Now, this one goes into an argument saying if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, Lethal Weapon is also a Christmas movie.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
I literally had this discussion with my kid last night because we were at this Christmas party and Die Hard was on the TV. It was muted, but Die Hard was playing on the TV. And I was like, we really should watch this. And my kid's like, yeah, it's a Christmas movie. We should watch it. And I'm like, no, it's not a Christmas movie. And the argument was, any movie that takes place during Christmas or features Christmas is a Christmas movie. That's the argument.
Right.
That's my kid's argument. Because they're like, well, what about Home Alone? And I'm like, yeah, but Home Alone's different. No, apparently not. Apparently there's no difference. If the movie takes place during Christmas, if you see a Christmas tree or hear a Christmas song in the movie, it is a Christmas movie. I mean,
I agree.
Bad Santa's my favorite Christmas movie.
Oh, love it. Love it. It's on the list to watch. So Lethal Weapon, Christmas movie. Of course, Die Hard, Christmas movie. Everyone knows, everyone does it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to end off with Look Who's Talking. With John Travolta, his late 80s, kind of trying to come back. So that's a couple of movies that you can just put there on your list. Go, hey, I feel like watching some Christmas stuff. Before we go, I have to ask you to take me down your Barry Manilow.
It's not like that kind of Manilow, but yeah. So let me tell you the journey that I went on. Have you watched the Robbie Williams documentary that's currently on Netflix?
I have watched it.
Okay, I have only started watching it. I watched the first episode. Now, I am not a huge fan of Robbie Williams. There's one song of his I quite like, but I'm a fan of his personality, his persona, his story. Not a fan of his music. Definitely not a fan of Take That. You know me and boy bands. The only boy band for me is Wham.
I love Robbie Williams.
Yes.
I loved early 2000s Robbie Williams. So I didn't like Take That. I didn't like him kind of leaving Take That. I loved late 90s, early 2000s Robbie Williams. And then he's tried a lot of different things that I don't think works. And he's kind of in that point in his career where he's made so much money and he's totally in control of what he does. Nobody tells him things are a bad idea anymore. So he doesn't have to listen to anyone anymore. So I watched it. I very much enjoyed. I felt bad because like there is when he came here, I mean, I think it was like 2006, he came to South Africa. And we're like, oh my God, like we love that concert so much. He was in a dark place then. Like you'll get to that.
I realized that because I was at that concert. I was there.
Oh, right.
But in the first episode, they play a fair amount of Take That songs. And one of them was a cover of a Barry Manilow song called Could It Be Magic, which took me right back to my childhood. We're talking 1970s here. So I'm hopping out of the 80s completely in this episode. Now we're going into the 70s, where Could It Be Magic was released in 1973, the year of my birth, Paulo. It is one of the greatest songs. I'm sorry. Like, this is not even a secret guilty pleasure. I freaking love Barry Manilow. I grew up on Barry Manilow, and as far as I'm concerned, he's a total genius, and we've never discussed this before. And Could It Be Magic is still to this day one of the greatest songs, and I actually went to go listen to it on YouTube straight after the docu because I was like, I haven't listened to that song in so long. And the comments on it were really amazing. The comments were like there was one guy who said, I'm a total metalhead, but this song is brilliant. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that song reaches across.
I can't say like in my mind's ear that I can hear that song, but I know the Take That version. How different is it? I mean, I assume there's like some more instrumentation, but how different does the
Barry Manilow version is much more intense. The Take That version kind of lightens it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've got to hear the original. It's so intense. It's so magnificent. And then I just went into the rabbit hole and started playing all the songs. And I was like, what? I haven't been keeping up with Barry's life. Well, I don't actually know that much about Barry. Let me read up about Barry. I went through a stage where it was like a Copacabana and all that stuff. These are all 70s classics, and they're so fun and everything. So, Barry Manilow is still at 80 years old performing in Las Vegas today. These days.
I mean,
at 80.
Is there a less surprising sentence than Barry Manilow performing in Las Vegas?
Of course not. But he's 80. Okay?
Yeah. Right.
Which is amazing. Long may he continue. I didn't know. So at one point he was married to a woman, and they didn't actually have kids. The marriage didn't last very long. It was like 2 years into the 1970s. And then he was, in inverted commas, single for many, many years. But he wasn't. He was in a secret relationship with a man because he didn't want to come out. There's a whole thing about how he didn't want to come out as gay because he didn't want to upset his female fans. He had so many adoring female fans. And he thought, if I come out and say I'm gay, I'm going to lose these fans. This is the reality of the 80s and the 70s, the 80s, even the 90s. This was the reality. He only came out in 2017 when he married the man he had been with for 35 years. They had been in a relationship for 35 years. They got married when marriage became legal in the US in 2017, and that's when he came out. And of course, all his fans were hugely supportive. And they were like, we love you, Barry. Barry, we knew.
Who cares?
Yeah. And who cares? But I mean, that's kind of like, I think that a biopic of Barry's life would be so interesting. But yes, do yourself a favor and go and listen to the original version of Could It Be Magic, because it is phenomenal to this day.
We're headed to Copacabana via Barry Manilow, but we took an fork in the road via Robbie Williams. Into it's fantastic. That is just
into the 90s, back to the 70s. We're all over this week.
How does anyone keep up? How does anyone keep up with that 80s show? Your favorite show about the 80s? It has to be. I mean, I can't think of why it wouldn't be. Everything you heard on the show today can be found on that 80s Show SA Facebook page. Of course, all the gifts that Dori and I would like in our Wham themed Christmas stockings.
I think let's just make that a registry. And then people can just send us, It's just
good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea, Dori. That's a fantastic idea.
We don't charge you for this show. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't we? Oh, damn it. It's a flaw in the business plan. So, listen, it is the holiday season. We will be dropping new shows. If we don't drop shows, we will be like promoting some of our previous great shows with some of our favorite guests. So, to get them all, just make sure you subscribe, and follow us, That 80 Show SA on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me, Dori.
Thank you.